Hey everybody, Jay Privman and Marty McGee back to recap what was a terrific weekend of Derby preps last weekend. And Marty, let's start with the San Felipe because it looked like the strongest race going in. It turned out it had the most impressive winner and it had the most significant impact on your Derby odds line. So let's start with that, our top 20 list and what you ended up doing regarding the prices.
Well, I had Life is Good at 6-1, and then when he ran the 107 buyer speed figure, Jay, I was compelled to put him way down there. You know, it's rather amazing given the way that horses are Derby favorites are relatively high, and he was 2-1 in Pool 4 of the Kentucky Derby future wager that closed last week. So I made him 5-2 and bumped up the other two favorites, Essential Quality and Greatest Honor, a little bit, followed by everybody else is in double digits with Caddo River, Concert Tour, who meet, of course, in the Rebel on Saturday, and Mandaloon all kind of grouped together with some 420-1s after that, and a bunch of 30-1s and a few 50-1s. So that's the way it shakes out if they ran the Derby today or tomorrow or this weekend. That's about what we think they would be.
Well, let's take a look at why Life is Good went from the third choice to the favorite for the Derby and the Derby Watch Top 20. It's because of this win in the San Felipe. As Marty said, he got a 107 buyer speed figure. Marty, one of the things I liked about this race, besides obviously the margin of victory and the fast time, is that it looked like in his works going into the race that he was starting to learn how to dole out his speed a little better. And I think we saw that in the race last Saturday. He went fast, but it wasn't a runoff. What did you think of his race?
I mean, yeah, who's going to run with him early, or who would want to run with him early once we run the Kentucky Derby? You'll be monitoring his works, of course, up to the Santa Anita Derby. And I would imagine that's Bob Baffert's number one goal is to get this horse to rate as kindly as he can. So therein lies one of the main components to the run up to the Derby.
And like you say, if you go with, who would want to go with him? Because if you go with him, maybe you soften him up, but at what cost? Yeah. And I think that was one of the reasons we saw the way Medina Spirit was ridden in this race. And certainly when the horse is most likely to chase is from the same barn, the tactics can be questioned. But I thought Medina Spirit was ridden to his best interests in that when he stalked Life is Good in the Sham back in January, he ran his best race. And when he was ridden off his feet owing to a rail draw in his previous race, the Robert Lewis, he didn't finish as well. And I thought after watching those two races, one would logically conclude that for Medina Spirit to have his best chance, he should stalk and pounce. The difference in this race is that Life is Good never came back to the field.
He never could. I mean, he was within a few lengths, Jay, at the quarter pole or so. But Medina Spirit to me is kind of I don't know what to do with him. I mean, he got a 95 buyer, which obviously compares very favorably with all the rest of them. But then you see him just, get beat a quarter of a pole by his stablemate, and you really don't know how to evaluate him as a legit Derby contender.
Dream Shake finished third in that race. He was on the bubble, didn't quite crack our top 20. And then Roman Centurion, who finished fourth, we ended up removing from the top 20 for now because of the performances that we saw from a couple other horses, which included the top two finishers in the Gotham, which we'll look at now. Weyburn won that race. Crowded Trade was second. And another member of our Derby Watch Top 20, Highly Motivated, was third. I'll let you bat lead off here. What did you think of this race?
Well, Highly Motivated does exit the race with a couple of minor excuses. His start wasn't that good down near the rail, and then he was kind of steadied about a furlong or so into the race. The other horses had free run this race like the Tampa Bay Derby, which we will see in a moment, Jay. If you had to bet at the eighth pole with a gun to your head, you were going to bet on the Chad Brown trained Crowded Trade because it looks like he was going right on by to victory. But Weyburn, off the layoff for Jimmy Jerkins, battles back to win it at a big number. And we have since included both of those horses on our Derby Watch list.
David Grenning, our colleague in New York, wrote that even though Weyburn has the most, enough points, I should say, to be in the Derby right now, getting 50 from that race, he's not necessarily going to be pointed to the Kentucky Derby. He will run in the Wood Memorial next, and we'll see how he does there. But The Belmont Stakes is the race that they're targeting most, and both the Grandsire and Grand Dam of Weyburn are Belmont Stakes winners. But there's still plenty of time for them to reconsider if he runs off the screen in the Wood Memorial. And I think you and I are both have kind of similar feelings, I think, about the two Chad Brown horses who ran second and third. I'm still not convinced either of them are going to be true mile and an eighth and on-up horses.
I like the way that Chad is going to divert highly motivated to the Bluegrass Stakes. So it's a mile and an eighth. That's a legit, two-turn route. Going back to Weyburn, that's the Jerkins pedigree coming out in Jimmy. So as to just staying home in New York. But the Chad horses, still TBA, but he's got risk taking too. So Chad is among us here with 3 of the 20 on our list.
And risk taking and Weyburn are both being pointed right now to the Wood Memorial. Marty, you were at Tampa Bay Downs on Saturday for the Tampa Bay Derby, which Helium won. It was his first start in 4.5 months, his first start around 2 turns, his first start on dirt, and he took the scenic route in this race and won, holding off a horse that you like more than I do, that being Hidden Stash. We put Helium into the Derby Watch Top 20. Hidden Stash is on the bubble this week. You were there. What did you think of the race?
Well, Hidden Stash looked like a dead winner at the 8th pole. I mean, Bejarano, I thought, rode him really well. He let Helium go ahead and get first run on him. But by the time they got to the 8th pole, there was Hidden Stash, and it looked like he, too, was going to go right on by, but, of course, he did not. I think there's a couple of downers for Helium, Jay. One is the relatively low buyer figure of 84 he came back with, and 2, Mark Cassey has kind of felt like he is in no man's land in terms of what to do next. He has apparently decided on just training him into the Kentucky Derby with the 50 points in his holster. So as opposed to running in something like the Bluegrass, which would be 4 weeks and then 4 weeks to the Derby, Mark just felt like, even though he said the horse came out of the race good, that it might have taken something out of him. He wouldn't want to expend the effort. All the new training methods where 8 weeks is better than 4 weeks, which is better than 3 weeks. So I think by the time we get to Churchill Downs and Derby week, Helium will be pretty much considered a long shot, and that's why I have him 50 to 1 on our line.
And you had talked to Mark Cassey on Sunday morning and reported then that was what they were planning on doing. And really, and if they do that, and they are going to do that, it would basically mean he's had 1 mile and a 16th race since October, which will be pretty unusual, and a 3 race in total heading into the Kentucky Derby, which, as you said, is really kind of no man's land. 84 buyer speed figure, which is 23 points less than what Life is Good got. Weyburn got a 95, so I think we can all agree that the Tampa Bay Derby of the 3 was the lesser of the 3 last week. But we'll see how these horses progress, because we're still got lots of room for horses to improve between now and Derby Day. But Life is Good was the star of the show last weekend. He is the current favorite on Marty's line on our Derby Watch Top 20. You can see our entire list at DRF.com. And also here at DRF.com, you can see a preview of this week's Rebel right here on our Derby Watch videos. For Marty McGee, I'm Jay Privman. Thanks for watching.